Hello, welcome to the Pop Off PC Mag's Video Game Show. I'm Jordan Miner. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Rokashi, a game developer and a very cool person from Twitter, I might say.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yep. And today we're talking about the Playdate, a very different, very interesting new kind of handheld gaming system from Panic. And instead of, before we kind of describe it, I think the most, here we go. Let's just show it off. Now, you may think that maybe just sort of like an off-brand Game Boy, but the most interesting thing about this, if we bring up again, is in addition to the buttons and the D-pad, the Playdate has this crank that you use as an input for a lot of games. So we can get some of that crank action here. Look at that. And a lot of developers have found some interesting use for this, so we'll kind of get into it. But just kicking it off. So Rokashi, you have made a game for this thing.
So my team have been working on the game for the Playdate for a year now. Oh my god, what is time?
Yeah, really.
Oh my god, yeah. So we've been working on the game for a year now. Faraway Fairway, and it's coming soon.
Cool. So how did that start? How did you get kind of recruited, or how did that whole process start?
So originally I requested to receive a Playdate, and I didn't get one. And then a little ways down the line, I was approached again and they sent me one. And that's kind of when I already had an idea of what I wanted to do with it, but they sent me one and then kind of made a little team, and then we just started making a game. And it's been very interesting, learning a lot of new things. And this is kind of the biggest game I've ever made for my own personal sort of thing. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Cool. What sort of initially intrigued you about it as a creator when they announced this it feels like years ago when they announced it even too.
Yeah. I just like very weird mechanics in games. So especially when I saw the crank, I was like, what the hell? What am I supposed to do with that? I have no idea what to do with that thing.
That's a challenge, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it was interesting. So that's why I wanted to give it a try. And so far, I don't know, it's so out there, but it once you start using it, it makes sense for a lot of the games that you play. So yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I just want more people to get them in their hands and start playing around with all the other games that are going to be coming out. And yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Now, I've never made a game, so I might be sounding extremely ignorant here. But I guess what was it like developing for the Playdate versus I guess maybe like PC or other sorts of devices? Easy, different, kind of, how's it compare?
I think it's kind of on par. With the Playdate SDK, it's very I'm not a very strong programmer, but it's a lot of things that showing people how to use a device or make a game with the device makes a lot of sense. So I think people who are more interested in games will definitely find a way into creating for it, especially because they have something called Pulp. And basically, it's a browser-based engine that you could use to build games for the Playdate as well. So you can make games that way, and it's very simple. It's I don't want to say it's similar to Twine.
Okay,
which is a narrative sort of engine online, but it's it's online. You could do your own pixel art, and then you could port it directly to the Playdate and play it on the device. So it's very accessible in that way.
That's cool. Okay, yeah. We've had some coverage of Twine on the site because we kind of have a consumer how to get to the Kindle as a consumer, and that's kind of one of the first ones.
Yeah, Twine's great.
Point people to. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so the game is called Faraway Fairway.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that?
So, Faraway Fairway is an arcade golf exploration mental health game. So basically, the idea of the game is that you're just playing through procedurally generated golf courses, and as you explore and learn new things, you get I don't want to give too much away, but like something will happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Something will happen, and you get to read a short story that I've written based on that thing. And since the game relates to mental health, I want to be as chill as I could possibly make the game. So yeah, like I just want everyone to have like a very chill time, like has like really amazing music. There's no difficulty. It's more of a game to, if you're like waiting for the bus or you got some time to kill, you could just play like a set of rounds and then you could put the game down. Like there's no rush to anything in the game. And that's kind of like how I see people who are, going through like anything pertaining to like mental health. Like there's no point in like rushing yourself in anything. So it's more of like taking your time, and I consider it like a vacation of sorts. Like taking care of yourself is like more of a vacation, and that's how I like relate a lot of like the mechanics and the stories in the game as well.
Now, was this an idea for a game that you had prior to becoming a developer for the Playdate, or was it something that kind of came about after getting in the dev kit?
It was kind of after, because I was just like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna make of this. I have no idea.
Right.
Like, I mean, I had like some idea, but like, I don't know, just like playing around with it, I was just like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. But yeah, everything just like sort of like fell into place. Like everything just like made sense when I was like designing it. So I'm very happy. And I hope other people will be happy giving it a try too.
Is it a spoiler to say how it uses the crank?
No. So so you use the crank to position and aim the ball to tell it where you want it to go, and then depending on how fast you crank it is kind of like shows like the power in which you could knock the ball far or like close and stuff like that. But the real funny thing is a lot of people have asked me, oh, like you're making a golf game, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, oh, so you were like good at golf. I was like, I even know anything about golf.
Video game sports and real sports are so separate. They're so separate.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, so I sort of like did my own rules or my own interpretation of like what golf could be, which I would find fun. And that's kind of like what came out of it. So I kind of like scrapped all traditional golf rules and like made my own. I think it's for the best.
No, I agree. Arcade sports games are so much more interesting and cooler than real sports games. So still on this crank, was there a lot? Did you give a lot of thought about like how much? Because I remember the only game I played this at the Game Dev Color Expo a few years ago. I know they had it there, and I think the game I played is you're like a robot traveling through time or something.
Oh yeah, so that's what's his name? Kita Takashi's game.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So essentially in that game, you're pretty much using the crank to move the robot because you're trying to go on a date.
Yeah.
And the faster you crank, the faster the person goes, but then you have to watch out for obstacles and stuff like that. So it gets really interesting as you progress. But yeah, the crank can be used in like a lot of different ways. Like it's really interesting. And I think, especially for like a handheld, like just the crank itself is such a far out sort of thing that it just makes people think more about how they want people to interact with the game. And I really like that because every time I look at it, it just looks like a very tiny Game Boy. And it's just like, yeah, I remember I used to have a Game Boy that was like bright yellow.
Right. It has the screen is black and white too, right?
Yeah, it's like high contrast black and white, which is like another thing which is like really interesting because like at first I thought it was like backlit, but it's not. But even in low light, I can still see what's going on the screen, which is really cool. But yeah, I don't know. I just like weird mechanical devices that just do things differently and then just
Mhm.
I don't know, just force people to think differently about creating or interacting with it.
Yeah, things that just kind of remind you of like the analog quality that games can have sometimes, like
Yeah, yeah,
trackballs
yeah.
and things like that. Yeah, like yeah, even if a game isn't using a crank like 100% of the time, it's just as an option is really cool. Um, so you have it obviously as a developer, but like how have you enjoyed it? Just I mean, have you got a chance to play a lot of other games on it?
I played all of them.
Okay, great. So how's that been?
I don't think I could talk about only the games that have been like delivered so far.
Okay.
But the way how everyone has like used their own interpretation of how they want to use uh like the screen real estate, or using like a lot of dithering to differentiate a lot of like the colors.
Mhm.
But it's really interesting to see other developers like create for this game, and it makes me very excited now that the SDK is public and people are starting to create more titles for this game, for this device. I don't know, it's just like it's just really exciting to be like a part of that process, because this is actually I guess like you could consider the Playdate a console, but like this is like my
Oh yeah.
first console game that I've ever made, which is pretty wild, and I've only been like in games for like a short period of time. So
That's a
it's
pretty
very,
significant milestone. Yeah.
yeah, for sure, and it's really exciting to just be a part of um the process and just be in like a place where you just see all these things happening and people are just reacting and just being like excited, and like it's pretty cool.
So something else that's pretty cool about this beyond just the physical crank aspect is how they're delivering the games. And this, I think I have this right, but they're doing this sort of like seasonal model, right, where the games are delivered to you. Is there anything more can you kind of elaborate on that, how that works?
So with the Playdate, if you purchase a Playdate, you automatically get 24 games beamed directly to your device. So let's say you get your Playdate in the mail, you open it up, set everything up to Wi-Fi. You should be beamed two video games, I believe. I think they're delivered on Mondays. I think it's on Mondays. But essentially, you get these games and then you could just play them as much as you want. They're yours. Um, and then the longer you go, the more games that will just be delivered to your device. And um, I think it's really interesting actually, because I see like a lot of people don't necessarily mention that all the games that you get with the device are like free and they're yours.
Right.
But they are. You could play them as much as you want. And yeah, I think it's going to be really cool to just have people just like wake up and you see like a blinking light on your Playdate and it's like, oh, you have a new game, like a new game is available. Like, I love that. I love that a lot. And you just like, I don't know, like the sort of like experience of how it happens and how you sort of open the game to interact with it is really fun and very cute, and I think people will really vibe with how it works. But I'll let people figure that one out for themselves.
No, it's cool to see that kind of, and as we see other subscription services like Game Pass and all of what they're doing with PlayStation kind of get going, like to see this sort of different approach to it, where they're just like games are just completely unknown to you as opposed to like,
yeah.
So that's very cool. Something that's kind of interesting, I find interesting now, is this sort of wave we've got going now of these like boutique handhelds. So we have this, we have the Analog Pocket that came out not that long ago, the Steam Deck, even the Nintendo Switch to a degree. As someone who likes playing games wherever I am, I find it very cool. So yeah, I mean, do you have any thoughts of just like maybe why we're kind of seeing people kind of pivot more back towards handheld gaming?
That it's definitely something I've thought about for a while, because even though because of the shenanigans that's happening on Earth right now.
Right.
I've been mostly at home. But still, even when I go out for walks and stuff, I'll have my Switch in my pocket. I'll just being able to like go anywhere and just play some of your favorite games wherever you are. I don't know, there's sort of some sort of like, I don't even know the word for it, but I just think a lot of people are just being like, I just want to be able to be anywhere and have my favorite games right where I am.
Yeah.
And I totally feel for that, because sometimes like when I'm like forced to leave my house and then like I'm waiting, and I'm just like, if I only had like my Steam Deck or my Switch or something just to like play like a quick game on. I don't know, I think people just don't want to waste their time doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So to have a device like with them like really helps with that. And then having the Playdate, a lot of people are really interested in like how tiny it is. It's like you can take that anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of like the things that people are really excited about, that you could just like pop it. Like this thing could like fit in my wallet. Like it's wild. I probably wouldn't sit on my wallet, but like it's very small, and but it's, I don't know, I think it's like the form factor, but I don't know. Even like I have a Switch Lite and it's like pretty small, but I do feel like a lot of people just want to be able to play their favorite games, even more so, wherever they go.
No, yeah, I agree. As much as I love Nintendo, like it's good to see things kind of break up that hegemony of like the Vita didn't do it, like modern mobile games aren't going to do it, but like stuff like the Steam Deck and this, like just having a more like diversity amongst handheld gaming options. I think
Exactly, yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So last question, unrelated to any of this, but I got to ask you while you're here. You see that new Sonic movie?
I did. I actually went to the Toronto premiere of the Sonic movie. It was pretty. It was really fucking lit. It was really good. Man, like that movie. Oh man, like I had like expectations for that movie because like the first one was pretty good. But like the things that they did in the movie and like the references that they made, like I saw every single one. Like it was so good. Like I cried. I legit cried in the theater. I was just like, God damn, this movie's good.
I cried at Everything Ever All at Once, so it's definitely crying. It's crying in theaters season.
I need to see that movie though. Yeah, Sonic 2 was very well done. I don't like, but there's so much to like. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, it was a very well done movie. I would probably watch it again. Like, and the funny thing is, I've watched a couple of movies since, but before the pandemic, the last movie I watched in theaters was Sonic 1, mm-hmm. like the first movie. And at that, like they had like this mascot at GameStop at the game store, and then I was just like, damn, Sonic is here. This movie has to be good. So it's like really weird to be here like full circle years later and just watching the exact same movie in the same theater in the exact same seat. Like it's nuts. So I was really excited about it, and if they're doing what I think they're doing, Sonic 3 is gonna be great. I'm excited.
Sweet. All right, so back on topic. So the Playdate, it is out now. People are just having a hard time getting it because all the pre-orders are sort of backed up, but it is technically out. I think
they started shipping from Group 1 a couple of days. I think it's been a week. That they started shipping from Group 1. From what I understand, you can pre-order whenever. You'll just get yours later on. But after they ship out Group 1, then they'll start doing Group 2, which is supposed to be later, a little bit, I think summer or fall this year. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a rolling sort of like shipping schedule for people.
Right. It's similar to the Steam Deck and the Analog Pocket.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit like that.
$180. Oh, okay.
So I was gonna say, like, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of it's interesting that a lot of like people who make consoles don't do that. They're just like, when it's in stock, you have to like fight against the bots.
Right.
And then it's
Yeah.
like, instead of just being always available and then you'll get your time as soon as it comes, it's just like, that kind of sucks. But I do like the idea that you could just like pre-order whenever you want. There's no stress or rushing to a website to get one.
Right.
I think console companies can learn a thing or two about that.
Sure. Well, we're also all just constrained by the supply chain.
Exactly.
Yeah. $180, which is also a very Game Boy-esque price to me. So that's cool. They came in under 200. So yeah, some of the creators include, we said earlier, Akira Takahashi, Kamari Damasi, Lucas Pope of Return of the Obra Dinn, and Papers, Please. And you, Rokashi, you're a very cool developer. You've made a game for this, Faraway Fairway, on Playdate. We can just see it one more time. This is the Playdate from Panic, the publisher that brought you Untitled Goose Game and that game Noor, where you play with the food. And yeah, that's the Playdate. Rokashi, where should people check you out?
Everyone can find me on Twitter at Rokashi. Very easy to find.
Sweet. Thanks so much for joining us and for showing off the Playdate.
No worries. I'm always here.
Sweet. And we'll talk to you next time.
All right. See ya.